Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. 12 Coronation Street spoilers for next week. Next week on Coronation Street, Roy starts to fight back as he highlights potential clues, which could prove his innocence. Elsewhere, Paul and Gemma's dad arrives in town, and Steve's dating adventure continues. Here's our full guide to 12 big moments coming up. Roy continues to be plagued by memories of a conversation that Lauren had with Max at the cafe before she disappeared. He knows that it must be significant in some way, but isn't sure why. Later, Nina pays another visit to Roy in prison, but he fails to appear. One of the prison officers heads to investigate and discovers that Roy has collapsed in his cell. Roy is pleased to be visited by Mary while he recovers in hospital. He tells her about Lauren and Max's conversation, still convinced that it could be crucial for the case. Roy is tormenting himself as he tries to remember the full details, but Mary assures him that it'll come to him eventually. Nina discovers that the police are planning to film a reconstruction in the cafe of Lauren's last known movements, hoping it could help to jog people's memories. Once Roy returns to prison, he also calls Dee Dee and encourages her to trace where Lauren's necklace came from, as this could lead them to the identity of her mystery boyfriend. Paul heads off to appear on Amy's new student radio show. His day gets off to a bad start when the taxi company sends a car that isn't big enough for his wheelchair, and the driver is rude towards him. When Paul's interview gets underway, he speaks passionately about his MND and society's lack of regard for people who have disabilities. However, when Paul gets carried away and swears live on air, Amy fears that her radio career could be over already. Paul and Gemma's dad Denny arrives in Weatherfield to confront Bernie, complaining that he only found out their son was dying when he heard him on the radio. Bernie doesn't want Denny back in Paul's life, so she lies and says that he's already dead and the interview was pre-recorded. Denny doesn't believe Bernie's claims and follows her up to Paul and Billy's flat. Paul and Gemma are shocked to be reunited with their father. Billy reminds Paul that Denny was violent towards him when he was a child and urges him to be wary. Paul invites Denny around to watch a film with him, so Billy decides to respect his wishes. When Denny pops out for ice cream, Paul has a sudden coughing fit and struggles to breathe. He tries to call an ambulance, but drops the phone before he can explain what's wrong. Denny finally arrives back and is shocked to see that Paul is barely conscious. Bernie complains to Dev about Denny's arrival, worried that he'll share details of her past. Dev wonders what's troubling Bernie when he finds her searching through an old box of letters and photos. Steve updates Tim and Kevin on his dating adventures after signing up for a website that Abe recommended. Steve matches with potential date Maggie and shows her picture to Kevin at the cafe. Kevin makes sexist remarks about Maggie, which annoys Abby and causes her to storm out. Steve meets up with another online match, Carol, at the Rover's return. He gets more than he bargained for when he realizes that Carol has brought 3 friends with her. Tim is coerced into spending time with Carol's friend Aurora, but Sally is furious when she catches them giggling together over drinks at the pub. Steve complains to Amy that he's fed up with the dating apps already, but he's re-energized to keep trying when he receives a message from a woman called Demi. Steve tells Amy that he's convinced Demi could be the one. His positive outlook continues when he meets Demi at the Rover's return, and they get along well. Lean shares her hopes of expanding the bistro business by launching pop-up stalls. She credits Rowan for the inspiration, which irritates Nick. Nick asks Toya whether she'd be willing to manage the bistro while Lean is busy with her expansion plans, but he's disappointed when she refuses. Adam and Alia continue to work together on the joint case between Barlow Legal Services and Fabian's. Adam tries to impress Alia by proving that he's across all the details, while Alia shares the surprising news that she'll be heading to Dublin for work for a while. Later in the week, Adam and Alia share a passionate kiss while working together in the law office. Their romantic encounter is quickly rumbled when Alia's new boss, Rich, walks in. Gary and Maria discuss the possibility of arranging private therapy for Liam due to the long waiting list for him to get help for free. Gary even considers selling the factory to fund this, but Liam is worried when he overhears. Later in the week, Liam searches online for ways to deal with anxiety and researches diazepam.